7 Parchment paper substitutes. 1. Wax paper. Out of all the alternatives, wax paper is the one that looks closest to parchment paper. For this reason, the two are often interchanged or mistaken for each other. But while they look similar, they are significantly different from each other. Parchment paper has a silicone lining making it heat-resistant, while the wax paper is lined with wax and not conducive for cooking methods that involve high heat. However, if you'll be using parchment paper for anti-sticking purposes without heat involved, then the wax paper can be a good substitute. 2. Silpat paper. It's something you can use for baking, unlike wax paper, but you can't use it as an alternative 100% of the time. It's thicker, so there are some applications where you can't use it to substitute parchment paper, such as when baking French macaron. Also, you can't cut silpat baking mat into smaller pieces, unlike parchment paper. In this case, some applications where silpat makes a good alternative are for rolling and kneading dough, catching drips, and keeping kitchen surfaces clean, among others. 3. Oil, butter, or flour. Before parchment paper was a thing, the basic method of making baked goods and other food types not stick to the pan is by using oil, butter, or flour. If cooking fish, poultry, meat, and vegetables, you can grease your pan with oil or butter. If baking goods, you can grease the pan or baking sheet with butter, then sprinkle some flour after. On the other hand, you can also use flour alone to prevent dough from sticking on the surface. 4. Cooking spray. While oil and butter are practical substitutes, the problem is that it can become too greasy. So if you have a cooking spray in the kitchen, it's a better alternative for when you want to prevent any ingredient from sticking to pans and baking sheets. 5. Shortening. Most people use butter as a greasing agent to make a non-stick pan, mold, or baking sheet in the absence of parchment paper. However, it tends to brown more, making your goods come out darker than they should be. If you want a lighter result, you can use shortening instead. 6. Aluminum foil. If you're looking for a thin lining as an alternative to parchment paper, then you can use aluminum foil. It's thin and great for many applications. However, it doesn't have non-stick properties, so you might need to apply a cooking spray or grease it with oil or butter. Its other uses are wrapping food, catching drips, and keeping kitchen surfaces clean, among others. 7. Paper bag. Despite not being able to use paper bags for cooking and baking, you can use them as an alternative to parchment paper for wrapping food.